It's time for NuWellness TV with Dr. Lee. Join your host, the accomplished Dr. Cherilyn Lee, as she welcomes the leading experts in health and well-being as they explore the advancements in natural health, physical fitness, nutrition, integrative medicine, and self-discovery.
Good morning or good afternoon or good evening, whatever time you're watching this wonderful show. We always have amazing guests. And each time I bring someone on, it is to help better our lives, our family lives. It is so important that we do all we can while we can to have the healthiest life, the healthiest environment is possible. So my guest today is going to help us with that. Can you imagine our topic is 10 ways you can lower your exposure to harmful radiation, and guess what? Right now, today, this very moment. Please get your pen and paper ready, because I'm sure you're going to want to take notes, because this is exposure to things that are really destroying us. And people know, and I say this a lot, there isn't a day that does not pass that I do not have a new cancer patient or people with all type of horrific diseases. And a lot of things we can change. And I want to share a little story as we go through this journey. But I want to bring on my wonderful guest, and I'm so excited. I'm always excited, aren't I? I'm so excited to have Bill
Cadwallader.
Cadwallader. I knew he was going to help me. Thank you so much for being here today. It is a pleasure and an honor. Your background is just amazing. We did send out a wonderful e-blast to all of our people, and your name is up here on the screen, so people are definitely going to Google who you are. We have so much information to share that we're not going to take a lot of time reading your background right now, because everybody is internet savvy. They're going to go to the internet and they're going to find out, who is this wonderful man that's going to help save my children's lives, save my life, and prevent illnesses? It's all about prevention. And I want to thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, for having me on. I appreciate it.
And thank you for taking that long drive to come in here to be in the studio personally from Las Vegas. I really appreciate you doing that. I mean, I really commend you for being, because I love people to be here in person and live in studio. So I thank you so much for taking that long drive.
I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Thank you so much. So we're going to just head in, because you're certified in electromagnetic radiation specialist. Yes. I want people to understand that he is certified in this. This is just somebody not talking off the top of his head. This is someone who had to go through a lot of credentialing.
Yes, it's a 2-year program. There's 14 courses. It normally takes 2 years, and there's about 25 of us who are certified and who are practicing in the U.S.
Only 25.
Right. At this point, we hope for many more in the future.
And a lot of people are not aware of all this. You know, we're going to discuss some of it, but all the people with cancers and where it's happening in the body. You know, we know there's different forms of cancer, but we can prevent some of these things from happening based on what's going on and what we're doing ourselves. So we're going to jump right into everything here and talk about the electromagnetic fields. Go into a little more detail of maybe what organs are affected by. First of all, what is electromagnetic fields? Some people may not even know what that is.
Electromagnetic fields are fields that have always existed in nature, and we are bioelectric beings. Our heart rate, our pineal gland, we'll talk about melatonin a little bit later.
And remember that pineal gland is in your brain there, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And brain waves all have an electrical component. So any organ of the body actually can be affected by these electromagnetic radiation.
Wonderful. So, and we say magnetic radiation. I know we're going to be going through some of them, but since we're speaking on electromagnetic fields,
yes.
So what large of a field would it be, or how close would this be to you? And
Normally, we're going to be looking at 4 electromagnetic radiation fields, and they normally come out 6 to 8 feet, although if you have a high voltage power line, they can come out hundreds of feet.
Right. And I know we have some information probably up now or will be coming up talking about the existing in nature and the bioelectric beings. And you just said that with our heart rate and our pineal and our, and melatonin, because a friend of mine, while we're saying heart rate, I know I have to say this because I don't want to forget. I was covering a friend of mine's clinic, and this guy came in with severe palpitations in his heart.
Wow.
Severe. And, and I watched him when he walked in, and so later I told the lady, because he didn't come in for that. He had been having them, but he came in for another reason.
Sure.
So I said, you guys do an EKG on him real quick. I'm just curious what his EKG is going to look like, because his cell phone was in his pocket.
Wow.
Over his heart. And he had palpitations, some other things that were happening based on putting that cell phone right there next to his heart.
You're 100% right, Doctor.
Yes. So I see a lot of different things, but I just want to kind of bring that up. So what's the big deal?
Well, I had a coworker. So when every time I saw him before and after meetings, he always held his cell phone to his head, always there. And what happened was he developed a tumor right where he held the cell phone. It wasn't on the left side, wasn't on the back, wasn't on the top. It was right there. So they removed it with surgery, and then they did massive chemo, but it grew back. Removed it with surgery again, massive chemo, and then he died. He left a wife who was now widowed. He left 7 children who are now fatherless. And at that moment in time, I knew industry was never going to tell us how to use these electronic devices safely.
And how long ago was that?
That was in the mid-2000s.
Mid-2000. Okay. And that's very sad to hear. And he didn't learn from each one of the surgery, the radiation, that the cell phone was the corporate cause.
No one was telling us back then that it was. So there was no way to know.
Yes. Safety things that kind of endanger. There's so many things in our environment as well, but things that were really dangerous in the past,
Yes, we look at asbestos, BPA, plastics, formaldehydes. Remember lead in paint and gasoline? Mercury, pesticides, tobacco, and smoking. And today we want to add excessive electromagnetic radiation.
That should be really almost at the top of the list.
Oh, I would believe
Even
that
though
as well, Doctor.
I had a conference one time, and I asked people, we have toxins in our body, and I asked them, what was the number one toxic that we all have in our body? The number one. And that's before the cell phones. And people guessed all kind of things. And
Sure.
I said, nope, it's plastic.
There you go.
It's
Exactly.
plastic. It's plastic. And we start off with the babies. We used to have baby bottles.
Made out of glass.
Made out of glass. Now they have a little plastic pouch inside, to make everything so convenient. But then the plastic toys. And we're inundated, our poor babies, with plastic. So
Definitely.
I want to thank you for that. So, and then with the tobacco smoking.
Right. And what we like to say is electromagnetic radiation is the tobacco of the digital age. And like tobacco and smoking, it can kill you.
Yeah. And there's no warnings put on our cell phones.
No.
All right.
No.
Took them a long time to put a warning on cigarettes and even including alcohol. So
You're 100% right.
And now with all the children and the families sitting, I love the picture that you have with everybody sitting in the bed with their phone. I have grandchildren, and I could barely
wow.
talk to them half the time because they're always on their cell phone. I said, no, if you're going to hang out with me, the cell phone is turned off for a while.
Good.
So that we can have some quality time.
Great.
And I turn mine off as well. But mine's business.
Sure.
But theirs is just, I don't even know how their fingers can move so fast texting.
I know. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, and that's the age we live in today.
Definitely.
So I wanted you to kind of, the exposure.
Yeah, and we're now all exposed to 100 million times more electromagnetic radiation than our grandparents were, and the exposure grows every single year. We're all guinea pigs.
And no treatment.
No. Exactly. And in the Bioinitiative Report 2012, over 3,800 scientific peer-reviewed studies on the hazards of electromagnetic radiation was done by MDs and PhDs, scientific PhDs throughout the world, and they were not funded by industry. So there's a lot of proof out there that this can be very, very harmful.
Yeah, I remember something came out in the news some years ago, but it was kind of squashed. It wasn't there long.
Exactly.
It was a report one day, and they talked about the children and the brain and the head, and, their skulls being thinner and the whole 9 yards. But it wasn't there long.
No.
And then they kept saying, there's really no proof.
Yes, that's what they always try to do. And could radiation be the straw that broke the camel's back? Now, we're going to cover some diseases, and we're not saying radiation is the 100% cause, but it could be a contributory cause, and that's where we come from, because we know it damages the DNA.
Yes.
We know the blood-brain barrier is at risk, and then it also weakens the immune system. So those are just three of the top things that electromagnetic radiation does.
Right. I know you have a wonderful story about a person who carried a phone in their hip.
Oh, yes.
When we get to that, I'll share my own story.
Oh,
yeah, because we walk around with our white jackets on or whatever, and we stick the phone quickly in our pocket. Not a good thing to do.
no, not at all.
Turn it off.
Yeah, definitely. And some of the most common cancers are brain cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, larynx cancer, leukemia, lymphoma, multiple myeloma, and melanoma. We'll talk about that toward the end as well.
I had a lady a gentleman who was in the hospital with leukemia.
Wow.
Leukemia and really severe headaches.
Sure.
Now, I visited them in the hospital.
Wow.
This gentleman. And I kept asking, you're having these really bad headaches? Well, maybe it's a side effect of some of the medication because they were on chemo or whatever. But guess what? The cell phone was under the pillow.
Wow, doctor. Yeah.
And after telling him to remove the phone, do some other things, the headache has diminished. The person actually is discharged from the hospital.
Wow.
And doing a lot better.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm glad you spotted that.
Yeah. Oh no, I spot those things very quickly.
I can believe it.
Yes. And can we kind of go back
Sure.
to that again? Because if we're looking at brain cancer, that's because of the phone being to the head. Breast cancer is because of women are now, especially young women, putting their cell phones inside of their bra. Why would you want to wear your phone right there at the breast? So these things are happening in those areas. Colon, because your phone is right there in the pocket.
Right.
Men, testicular cancer,
Exactly.
prostate cancer. Because one patient of mine had one of those, what are they called? Some kind of belt that they wear with a pocket.
Right.
Jarvis, you know what they are, don't you? Yeah. Anyway.
Fanny pack. I think in the old days they used to call them fanny packs. I hope I'm not dating myself.
I asked Jarvis because he's a man, but he doesn't wear those.
I believe that.
But and his PSA was going up higher and higher and higher because when we first met as a patient, his PSA was a lot lower. And then I noticed, I said, you know what, you've been wearing this for a couple of years and this PSA is climbing, and you always have it on. So let's start turning it off.
Good.
And every now and then just go and check it. So back pocket, we're seeing kidney cancer.
Right.
So, the different areas of where you're putting that phone is sometimes where you're going to start having problems.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I just want to try to say those are common areas, but those are common areas because guess what? That's where the phone is.
Exactly. And also ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer, salivary cancer, testicular cancer, as well as thyroid and uterine cancer. We'll talk about a case study of that in a little bit as well.
And we kind of went through that on the testicular because in
Sure.
your pockets, man, if
It's
you don't
right
want to have
there.
any children, that's not the way to.
No, not at all.
Not the way.
Very
you don't
dangerous.
Want to do that. But I see so many thyroid cancers and thyroid tumors and thyroid cysts, and we didn't have all those problems. Two things. One, the mercury in the mouth.
Sure.
And then secondly, the cell phone. You got it right against the thyroid and your parathyroid because they're right there together. So a lot of thyroid. A friend of mine, he just had surgery for a tumor on the side of his neck, and on the same side that he carries his phone.
Wow.
Yeah, he finally got it though.
Good. And also ADD, ADHD, Alzheimer's, asthma, autism, birth defects, blood-brain barriers at risk. And what we talked about a little bit is that in a Swedish study, after just several minutes holding the phone to your head, your blood-brain barrier started to open up, where toxins started entering the brain, as well as heavy metals that were never designed to be in the brain.
No, I know everyone's listening, but guess what? We do, at the very end of the show, we're not just telling you all these horrible things that are happening in your body, but we do have remedies for you.
We have solutions.
We
That's what
definitely
we're about
have
today.
solutions. So I would never present anything without a solution. So I want to thank you.
You're
because
welcome.
right now we're hitting on so many topics.
Oh, I know.
But we
We're
do
gonna
have
spend
solutions.
more time on solutions
Yes.
as well. And again, we just want to emphasize that these are contributory causes. So chronic fatigue, skin problems, diabetes, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, fatigue and weakness, fertility, as you were talking about, doctor, and reproduction, fibromyalgia, and right toward the end of our solutions, we'll talk about hair loss as well.
You know, a lot of people, I have some friends right now listening to the component on hair loss, because they start losing their hair. Well, we look at hormone too, but you got to look at the whole picture.
You have to,
You have to look at the whole picture. And these were people who had their clocks, their cell phones, the cell phone chargers, the router was nearby. All these things were nearby, and the hair was just falling out.
That's
until we made some changes there.
That is right.
I just want to say I had a lady that had problems. I do epigenetic screening with a machine called Cell Wellbeing. And in the Cell Wellbeing test, there is a component that talks about exactly what the show is about today.
Sure.
And so I was curious because she couldn't sleep. She had insomnia. A lot of things was happening with her. And so I did send someone who have one of the 25 people to her house, and come to find out she had a faulty wire over her bed.
Right.
A faulty wire over her bed.
That can do it.
And she had migraine headaches at night. Only these things were happening at night. Could not sleep, and she was depressed.
Wow.
It was the depression that really, I'm like, why are you so depressed at night?
Sure.
So this is what was happening. So the weakness, the fibromyalgia, we covered a lot. And diabetes. So how does it really affect a person with diabetes, the E.M.S.?
Well, what it does is if we have high dirty electricity, it's been shown in the studies by a PhD up in Canada that as you bring down the dirty electricity, the actual blood sugar level actually drops.
Now, when you say dirty electricity, would that be the smart meters or?
Well, we're going to cover four types of electromagnetic radiation.
Wonderful. Okay.
There's one Wi-Fi and wireless, and there's 3 on the wire. Dirty electricity is one of those.
Dirty
on the wire.
electricity
Is one of those on the wire.
Yeah. And then those conditions we kind of hit over a moment ago with the palpitations, change in blood pressure. And people who have blood pressure problems, they need to watch it.
Definitely.
Start turning them off to see if it makes a difference. Lupus, miscarriage, again, those are cell phones and tablets sitting on your lap. So be very careful. And MS.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then also numbness and tingling sensations, Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, sleep disturbances, as you were talking about that lady with the faulty wiring, incorrect wiring, tinnitus, tremors, and muscle spasm, and also weakens the immune system. So what we found is a disease that someone would have never gotten because their immune system is weakened, they actually get it. And now because it is still weakened, it's very hard to get rid of that disease.
Yeah. You know, I work very closely with a lot of people with these conditions. And, you know, again, looking at the rheumatoid arthritis. And since I'm there, I just want to let people know, please know your inflammation markers.
Sure.
You know, please know those. And a good thing, you can check those yourself, as I always say, with life extension. You don't need a doctor's prescription to order your C-reactive protein, your homeostasis levels, and watch your hemoglobin A1C.
Sure.
You know, if you're wearing and doing all these different things, you need to know what's going on in your body. Your vitamin D3 hydroxy is so important. Know what those things are. So you are at risk because we all have cell phones. We have more than one, like myself, but I try to keep them off, you know, and away from my body.
Sure.
But know what you can do. Those things are very important.
So is there anything we can do? Yes, we have 10 solutions. We'll be getting to those. We wanted to cover types of electromagnetic radiation, just a little background.
Yes.
So through the air, we have wireless and Wi-Fi radiation. And then on the wires, we have 3 types. We have electric radiation, magnetic radiation, and then also dirty electricity. We'll cover each of those just briefly so people understand what they are.
Thank you.
So the first one is electric radiation. It's produced by live electrical wires behind walls that you can't even see, and also visible electric wires. And it travels 6 to 8 feet out. So imagine
6 to 8 feet.
So imagine you're sleeping and think about the wires right behind your head, 6 to 8 feet out. That covers almost your entire sleeping area. And here's the thing that most people don't know. It exists even if a device is turned off. So what we mean is, think of a garden hose. You can turn off the nozzle, but there's still water in the hose.
Exactly.
Likewise, you can turn off an appliance like a light, but there's still electricity in that wire, and it's electric radiation. It comes 6 to 8 feet out from that wire.
Those are really good examples to use. Go ahead.
And then things like high voltage lines, we all think about having radiation, but toaster ovens, clock radios, as you mentioned, on the nightstand, very dangerous. Cordless phones, we'll talk about that. And even lamps. So you have lamps, most people have lamps on their nightstand, and we'll talk about how to solve that problem.
Wonderful.
And then the second type of radiation on the wire is magnetic radiation. It's produced by the flow of electric current. So you have a lamp, you have electric radiation. Once you turn it on, you have electric radiation. Now with the flow of current, you have magnetic radiation. So you have 2 types of radiation.
Say that again. You have the flow of the lamp itself that has...
Yeah, you have the lamp itself, and so just plugged in, it's a live electrical wire. It's like the garden hose. You have electric radiation.
Wonderful.
It comes out 6 to 8 feet out, and then when you turn on the lamp, now you have magnetic radiation or the flow of electricity to turn that lamp on. And now you've got 2 types of radiation you have to deal with. And
just to have light.
Yeah, just to have light. And then also in 1992, the federal government, the wires in our power poles were overheating. So the electric utilities didn't want to put up more wires to take care of all that current that was going through it. So what they allowed the federal government to do is actually push the electricity into the ground. And they pushed it in the ground, and someone would say, well, that's no problem. It's flowing 2 miles in the ground. No, it flows right along the top of the ground. It was so much of a problem in Wisconsin and Minnesota that dairy cows were being shocked, and their milk production actually plunged.
Oh, my goodness.
And again, what happened is they actually won lawsuits against the electrical utilities. And someone will say, well, it's probably very high voltage. We have about 120 volts in our walls. No, it was as little as 1/10 of 1 volt caused the dairy cows. And that's almost throughout the entire
And you mentioned
US
Minnesota, because here lately, when was this?
Oh, it's going on. It started to be discovered in the 1990s, and in the 2000s is when the dairy farmers started to win lawsuits for the animals being shot.
I have quite a few cancer patients coming out of Minnesota.
Yeah, it's a big problem. There's a lot of electricity flowing on the ground, and in certain areas it's greater, in other areas it's not. But again, it affected the dairy cattle.
Yeah, we found this out years ago. I attended a seminar, and the gentleman was trying to assess 3 people in the family had cancer.
Wow.
And it wasn't genetic, so they did all the genetic testing, and it was not genetic. But they found out that it was going through underneath the house, under the ground.
Yeah, we
The
find
magnetic.
that. We find that all the time.
Oh, my
Exactly.
goodness.
And with magnetic radiation, the second radiation on the wire can travel 2 to 6 feet out, normally from a wall, but it can also travel out hundreds of feet from a high voltage line. And what we mean by that is, if you look at a high voltage line, it's like concentric circles that just come out from that line, and again, it can come hundreds of feet out. Now, some other things that are also affected are dimmer switches, so we recommend that people get their dimmer switches out if they can. Also, the breaker panel.
The little dimmer switch, really?
Yeah, they cause a whole problem because it's not the full 120 volts. It's actually compressed, and whenever you compress it, you create magnetic radiation.
Oh my goodness! 'Cause a lot
Yeah.
of people love them in the kids' room.
Oh, I know.
Because they want to get up during the night and. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness! The dimmer switch.
Yeah. And then also the CFL bulbs. Those are those little curly-Q bulbs that they came out years ago. Those are very, very dangerous. They produce a lot of magnetic radiation.
Yeah. Let's just say that again. I know it's going to be on this where people can see those because I thought
Sure.
they were kind of cute. Because
No, they're the little curly-Q bulbs. And again, it's at the bottom right if you can see the PowerPoint, and those are very dangerous to create magnetic radiation as well as dirty electricity.
Yes. Oh my goodness! I had no idea.
Yes.
I just thought they were saving electricity and everything.
Yeah, anytime you normally save electricity, it's causing more radiation,
Okay.
unfortunately. And solutions, we're all about solutions today, Doctor. Solutions to electric and magnetic radiation. So what we say is unplug or turn off whenever possible, increase the distance. And if someone wants to do it themselves, we come out to houses, we check houses, and they say, I'd like to check my other relatives. Here's a great little meter. It's the ME 3030B from gigahertz. So that's a great residential meter.
I think everyone should have one. Are they expensive?
No, that's about $149. And just shop on the internet. You can go to our website, but shop on the internet and get that meter, and that'll measure both electric and magnetic radiation.
Oh,
So you
everyone
can
should
tell.
have one.
I agree.
You should have one, especially with the cell phone, so you can check them for yourself.
Sure.
Especially they're selling so many little devices to go on the phone that's supposed to absorb or the impact of that.
Yeah.
I do have a really good one. Mine has been checked.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I
Great.
do have a good one.
Good.
Yes.
And the third type of radiation on the wires is dirty electricity. It's caused by electronics running on a lower voltage. So in our wall, we have 120 volts, but all electronics run at 19 volts or less. And whenever they squeeze that voltage down, it's a good analogy, it creates spikes of radiation that piggyback along your wires, and it does it thousands of times a second. And it's caused by energy-efficient devices. Any type of fluorescent lights turn off 5,000 to 10,000 times a second, and they create spikes as well. And it can travel for miles. And what we mean by that, there was a middle school where they had a cancer cluster. The first number, 24 teachers and staff actually got cancer at a single school. And if that's not bad enough, we had 49. The next number is 49 former students at that middle school actually got cancer when they got into their 20s. And the worst number of all is 12. 12 have died. 6 teachers and staff and 6 students have now died. And when you were thinking, think about it when we were in our 20s. How many of your friends had cancer? 0.
Yes.
0.
Yes.
And this was cancer, 49 children at a single school. Wow.
49. That's
terrible. And the next number, 13, has to do with thyroid cancer. They had 13 times the thyroid cancer that they should have had, and you talked about that earlier.
And this
daughter.
is at a middle school?
At its middle school, yes. And then the next highest cancer was 10, and that was 10 times the melanoma that they should have had. And the third highest cancer was 9 times the uterine cancer at a single school.
At a single school.
Wow, that's terrible.
And in what state?
It was in California.
Okay. We're in California right now.
Yep.
I know something was happening in a certain area in California. So I don't know if that was the area they tested, but it was really, really high.
Yeah. The good news is we have solutions, as you talked about, and let's talk. And some people thought it actually came from a substation, power substation, over a mile away. So again, dirty electricity can travel for miles on your line and can be pumped into your own home.
Right.
And here's that in the middle, here's that CFL bulb again, that little curly Q bulb, very dangerous. They create dirty electricity, and as well as cordless phones.
Right.
And as we said, we're all about solutions to dirty electricity. So solutions, unplug or turn off whenever possible. Turn off dimmer switches, and some people we actually recommend that they remove them. And again, no CFLs. As well, and increase the distance from sources 6 feet. So actually get them 6 feet away. And here's a great meter on the bottom left is the Stetzer meter. That can measure it. Anyone can just plug it in. It's really inexpensive. It's $99. And this is the only type of radiation that we can actually plug in a filter to reduce. And here's a green wave filter on the middle and then a Stetzer filter. They work very well.
Wonderful.
And the final area we're going to talk about, Doctor, is wireless and Wi-Fi radiation.
Can I
Sure.
just say something here?
Please.
Because I had so much wonderful information from you. It was really good. So I think this was part 2, Jarvis. I sent to... okay. Okay, so we're going to
he does. That is part 2 right there. That is part 2 of the PowerPoint.
Okay, so the wireless and
Wi-Fi radiation. Major sources include cell phones, cell towers, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, wireless, microwave ovens, and here it is, baby monitors. Who would ever think a baby monitor would create radiation?
yeah, the poor baby in the
Wow.
crib itself. Yeah, well, you have a wonderful video to show on that too. We're going to be showing.
Yes, we'll show that. And then virtual reality goggles. Those are those new goggles that you actually put the cell phone right in front of them, and it's about 1 inch to 2 inches from your eyes.
Oh, so that is a cell phone.
You put it on the front of those goggles, and those people are getting radiation nonstop right into their eyes and their brain. Really
oh,
bad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it can originate inside or outside a building. So outside, you can go to a site called antennasearch.com and antennasearch.com. You put in your address, and it'll show you within 4 miles how many commercial cell towers and other devices, antennas there are.
You know, I did this at a family's home in California, and it was amazing. There was 100.
Yeah, there you go. We normally see 100 or more.
Yeah, 100, and she was very ill, very
Wow.
ill.
Yeah. And then also, most electronics now have a wireless and Wi-Fi component too. So we'll have solutions for that. And on this particular, we normally think of a cell tower as really bad if you saw it over your backyard. But we also have a picture of a young child with a cell phone, and the cell phone is half the size of a child's head.
It certainly
How
is.
can that be good?
Exactly.
Wow.
And people are giving them to their children as gifts, and they're playing games on them, but they're actually talking to people as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
really bad. And then we also have I saw a 21-year-old that had breast cancer. And I saw her, at 18, she carried her cell phone right here. And you were talking about that, doctor. In less than 3 years, she had a tumor right underneath that cell phone. In the past, through electromagnetic radiation, we used to see that it would take 10 years. Phones got more powerful, then it dropped to 5 years. Now it can be as little as 3 years that someone can develop a tumor. So if you know any ladies who are running, and actually when I was turning into the studio today, I saw a lady jogging, and she had her cell phone right here. And you mentioned it as too. Please don't
Breast
have it
and
do
heart.
it. Exactly.
And it isn't that far from the thyroid, so.
Right. Exactly. So we're all about solutions today, wireless and Wi-Fi solutions, unplug or turn off electronics when not in use, hardware devices whenever possible, increase distance from all sources. And here's a great little meter to measure Wi-Fi and wireless devices. It's called the Acousticom 2, and we'll show you a couple of videos using that. And it's a very inexpensive meter that anyone can buy, and you'll see how easy it is to use.
Okay.
So as we talked about, we're all about solutions, as promised. So we have 10 ways you can reduce your exposure, as you said, right now. And I've thrown in a bonus, so you don't want to leave. I've thrown in an 11.
Okay.
So the 11th one, so don't leave. So you don't want to miss that bonus. So let's look at the next slide.
Yes.
No, not this way.
Okay.
So we have a gentleman with a tinfoil hat, and he actually has his pet cat with a tinfoil hat. So we're not talking about this. We have real life solutions.
Yeah, that's not a solution.
That is not a
Not
solution.
a solution.
You're 100% right, doctor.
Okay.
So let's look at the
Try
first
to magnify it, but not a solution,
Microwave ovens. Microwave ovens generate wireless and Wi-Fi radiation whenever in use. We've never measured a microwave when we stood in front of it and turned it on, and it actually was in the safe level. Never. And after starting a microwave, get as far away as possible. So again, some people will ask how far away that is. So if we'd like to play that microwave video right now, if we could. Today we're going to look at a microwave. You've often heard get away from the microwave if you turn it on. Let's see how far you have to get away to be in the safe level from radiation. We're going to turn on the Acousticom 2. There's one button. And let's turn some sound on. As you can see, it's in the green. We want to get to the yellow or green. Those are the safe levels. Now let's turn on the microwave and see what happens. As you can see, it went all the way up to the red. So let's go back and see how far we need to get back. So we're actually going to, still in the red, we get a little bit of an amber. A little bit of an amber still in the red. And the type of radiation we're measuring here is Wi-Fi and wireless radiation. And as you can see, it goes right through the walls. We've gone through a couple of walls and it's still there. So just going out of the room is not going to help. We've actually gone through a kitchen, a hallway. Now we're into a living room. You can still see it's in the amber now, and we're going to try to get it into the yellow. Every so often it goes into the red. So now we're through 3 rooms and we're in another hallway. So let's continue to go back and see how far we're away. Probably about 40 feet away at this point, maybe a little bit farther. And now we finally start to see a little bit of a yellow, and I'm going to turn the sound off. So as you can see, you have to really get away from a microwave once you turn it on. If you want more information, go to stopdirtyelectricity.com. Thank you.
That is a very powerful video. You know, I have that DVD in my office. So not only are we doing the show today, but all of my patients, while they're having their IV nutrition and they're having their drips, they are watching the videos. And that's why I said I have to call you to be here to do a show.
Well, thank you, Doctor.
So that everybody can see this.
And can you imagine you have to get over 40 feet in that video and we're still not safe? And what we always say also, where are your pets when you turn that microwave on? We recommend that you don't use a microwave, but if you do use it, where are your pets?
A lot of people I know are just removing them from the home, but they've been so convenient for so many years, a lot of people just don't remove them. They still have them there.
Sure.
Yeah, we try not to use those.
Tip number 2, again, all about solutions. Move your cell phone when charging. So devices that are on generate wireless and Wi-Fi radiation even when not being used. Remember, ping, 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 ping. So every 6 to 30 seconds on the average, your cell phone is trying to connect to the nearest Wi-Fi, wireless, or cell tower. So again, that's really bad even though you're not making a call. And also, if you charge it, the charger actually creates a radiation on the wire. So the chargers create all 3 types of radiation as well. And so what we recommend is you move everything, even your clocks, as you talked about before, move them as far away as from the nightstand as possible. Move them across the room if you can, and move them even farther.
Okay.
And unplug all your lights as well. So be like this guy. Don't be like this guy. Actually move it.
Move it away.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we had a little story. I was at a conference on kidney cancer. So this lady comes up to me and says, my husband has kidney cancer at lunchtime. I said, where does he carry his cell phone? And she showed me, he took her phone and he put them it was right on his belt. And I asked her if the other kidney on the other side was affected. She said, no, it was right underneath the phone.
I've seen so much of that.
Yeah. And every 6 to 30 seconds, it goes ping, 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 and is trying to connect. And the connection is a pulse of radiation 120 times the safe level on average.
And that no one really think about that. They feel, well, I'm not using the phone right now, so I'm safe. The phone is on and I'm safe because I'm not on the phone. It isn't ringing. It isn't vibrating like it was on the show today, but it isn't vibrating. So the thing is to make sure, because kidney cancer is on the rise.
Yes,
all
definitely.
These cancers are on the rise, and they're trying to say, well, how does this happen? So many people, and environmental, diet. But you got to look at everything. I tell people in the healing process, It's like peeling an onion. You
Sure.
got to go through every level. This is the number one level. You better start with this first.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So tip number 3, use speaker mode when speaking on a cell phone whenever possible. Use and try never to hold a cell phone to your ear. Again, we know you
Exactly.
can't do 100% of the time, but always use it if you can on speakerphone. And remember that young child that we talked about? The young child had that cell phone to his head, and it was half the size of his head. Here's a statistic. Around 50% of radiation is emitted from a cell phone and is absorbed into our head and body. And as you said, a child's head is so much smaller, it goes much deeper. So don't be like the lady on the left, be like the lady on the right. Always use that cell phone on an outstretched hand.
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah. And tip number 4, when carrying a cell phone on your body, always turn airplane mode on and turn Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off. That'll shut the radiation. And again, as we talked about, cell phones generate radiation even when you're not making a call. Every 6 to 30 seconds on the average, they send out a burst of radiation trying to connect. And we want to talk at the bottom, we want to talk about in these modes, you will not be able to receive text, emails, data, or phone calls. So if my wife has to keep her phone on her body for an extended period of time, she turns it the radiation off, and then every 20 minutes she checks to see if she has anything.
Yes.
And if you're in a car, please put it in the seat to the right as far away as possible. And when you sit down at an office, at school, or at home, take it out of your pocket and put it as far away as possible.
Well, also with the smart cars.
Oh, yes.
The smart cars is also a problem. So wherever that box is in your car, people are finding that they're having hip problems.
Exactly.
And I really feel that I end up with some sciatic problems because of where it was located.
Sure.
And I said, I don't have sciatic problems, but this is what's happening.
Wow.
So just this weekend, my smart car tried to outsmart me
Uh-oh.
and lock my keys up in my car. So I
Yeah.
got rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these smart cars, you have to be very careful with
Sure.
what's happening. So is it more intense in a smart car because you're enclosed in a driving?
It depends on if a car has Bluetooth. That's not good.
Yeah,
and
it
then
does.
if it has Wi-Fi, it's even worse.
Okay.
So most of us can handle that exposure, but some people I talk with, they're so sensitive that they literally have to disable their Bluetooth in their car to operate.
Really?
And don't have any Wi-Fi at all. There are people who are more sensitive. So again, as we said, don't carry your phone in your pocket. And we had this, as you talked about earlier, 19-year-old with a hip replacement. So we were in South Orange County, California, and what happened was we were doing a firefighter's house, and he brought out his 19-year-old son. 19-year-old son, what's this about? And he says he has a hip replacement. How can a 19-year-old boy have a hip replacement? So we found out that he took his cell phone and he carried it in his right front pocket as a freshman in high school, all the way through high school, graduated at 19. He was hiking behind his house, jumped off a small rock and broke his hip. They rushed him to emergency. The doctor, she opened him up. The first thing she found was a huge tumor right where he kept the phone. And then she went through that tumor and she couldn't believe her eyes. She could actually stick her finger right through the bone. It literally had dissolved the bone.
Oh my goodness, that's awful.
So if you know anyone, don't have them carry that in their front pocket or
Well,
any pockets at all.
There's a person who presented to the emergency room where it was an urgent care, and he kept his, I know this sounds really kind of not the norm, but he kept his Bluetooth on his ear, the one, and to the point some of the skin grew over it because he was sleeping on it.
Wow.
And they had to surgically kind of remove this from his ear. And I couldn't believe anyone would wear it that long. I mean, how do you bathe with it on your ear?
Yeah.
But I guess taking a bath, you don't have to worry about water splashing on it.
Yeah.
But not safe at all.
It's bad. Again, those every 6 to 30 seconds try to connect. So it's a pulse of radiation. Tip 5, wireless router or Wi-Fi generate radiation even when no one is using it. portable electronic devices. So it's sending out radiation constantly. So what we recommend is that you move the router as far away as possible from the living area and sleeping areas. Your body is trying to rebuild itself. When sleeping, Wi-Fi and wireless from the router interferes with the process by suppressing melatonin production. We talked about that earlier.
Yes.
And there's several things melatonin does. One is it actually gets you into deeper sleep, as you well know. And another thing it does, it actually suppresses cancer. So we want maximum melatonin.
Yes, and I have a wonderful product that we're there. I'm so excited. I will be sharing it with my audience here, but if you want to know more about it, you can call me at the clinic at 310-419-4300. This is a wonderful sleep aid.
Great.
And it tastes delicious.
Good.
It's really, really delicious. So it has 300 milligrams of CBD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it tastes like hot chocolate.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, with a natural sweetener. It is so
That's
delicious.
perfect.
And you sleep like a baby.
Oh, I can believe
So,
it.
yeah,
Definitely.
so no more pills. We don't have to do so many pills.
And then also, the wireless router generates radiation even when no one is using a portable electronic devices. So again, also what we recommend is only turn the best solution, and normally with our clients we always have a good, better, and best solutions depending upon what they want to do. A best solution is only turn on wireless router or Wi-Fi when you need them. That's what my wife and I do at home, turn it on, use it, and then turn it off.
Yes.
But most clients can't do that, so a good solution is turn off the wireless router or Wi-Fi when you sleep. And again, I had a client said, I can't remember to do that. Just buy a $5 timer at a hardware store, plug it in, turn it off at 11 p.m., and then it comes back on at 6 a.m., and you've saved yourself a lot of
Wonderful.
grief.
And you know, we're kind of, it was so much wonderful information here, and we have about 8 minutes left.
Okay.
Or maybe 7. So we're going to get to it because I want you to, at the end, just really stress the key points. So we're going to move a little faster here, okay? Thank you so much.
Cordless phones. Replace cordless phones when phones with cords that plug into wall jacks. Remember the old days we used to plug it in? Replace them. They generate radiation just like a cell phone when you're using them, the portable handset.
Yes.
So we recommend you don't have it, but if you do, use it on speaker mode.
Yes.
And cordless phone bases, most people don't know, even when you hang up the phone, it generates radiation all the time, 24/7. So again, don't have that phone on the left, replace it with a corded phone, and they're only about $19 at the big box store. So it's a very good.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what we have is what's on your nightstand. My wife recently went into a home, and right next to where the gentleman slept was a cordless phone base. And he had huge problems with his eyes. He had problems with his heart, as well as he had problems with melanoma.
Yes.
Right
oh, my
there.
goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then tip number 7, reading on an iPad, tablet, Kindle, or cell phone. All these devices constantly trying to make a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connection. This happens even if you're not actively searching, uploading, or downloading from the internet. Remember, ping, ping, ping.
Yes.
So to stop the radiation, always keep airplane mode on and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth off. Be like this lady. She's downloaded her book, and she's reading it in the country with no radiation at all. And then also tip 8, electronic devices, printers, iPads, tablets, Kindles, laptops, virtual reality goggles, and computers connect through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Turn these off when not using them. So if you have a printer in your office, just turn off any electronics. And these devices generate radiation even in the power-saving mode.
Okay.
So avoiding using a laptop or electronic device on your lap because it's generating radiation. And again, electronic devices can generate multiple types of radiation when charging. So if you want to use one, we recommend that you use it in battery mode because when it's plugged in, the wires generate radiation. So be like this lady. She's turned everything off. And look at this, the lady on the left. She has her cell phone to her head. She has a laptop on her lap, and she's expecting. That is not good. Be like the young lady on the right who has her laptop unplugged and shoved as far away as possible. So at Thanksgiving, I met a 34-year-old with an abdominal tumor. He said he was a distant relative, and he said I didn't know what happened to him. And I said, no, I didn't. He had a huge tumor right in his abdomen.
I have several patients like that, yes.
And he asked me, could it be as a result of his tablet? Every night he took his tablet, put it right on his stomach, and for 2 hours he read on it every single night. It's generating radiation constantly.
Yes.
And we're almost done. Tip number 9, Bluetooth. Bluetooth devices generate wireless radiation. You talked about it earlier, Doctor, especially the earpiece, cell phone watches now, headphones, wireless keyboards, wireless mouse, fitness watches, and armbands. And
I started to wear one of the fitness watches. And then something told me,
it's
don't
not
do that.
good.
Exactly.
So never use a Bluetooth earpiece or wireless headphones, because even though you're not actively on a call, it's still generating radiation. Fitness watches, you recommend. Armbands, you don't use them. But if you're going to use them only for 1 hour a day. So the other 23 hours, you're not getting avoid.
Yes.
And so then avoid Bluetooth. Like that gentleman, I was in my doctor's office recently, and he came in and he said he had a patient that had Bluetooth and melanoma. And he said, and she wondered if it could be from her Bluetooth device. And I asked, was it on the opposite side of the face? She said, no. I said, was it above or below?
Exactly.
It wasn't. It was right underneath the Bluetooth earpiece. So please get rid of those.
Okay.
And finally, tip number 10, smart meters, electric. Do you have a smart meter? They're a smart electrical meter.
Right.
And it's a digital display. So we'll show you what it looks like, and can be 10 to 70 times stronger than a cell phone, and produce wireless radiation and dirty electricity, as well as solar panels.
Yeah, because so many people ask me, what does this look like? So it's on the screen now, and you can go and check, do you have a smart meter? We're about to wrap up here, so I'm going to have you back again. When you're in town, so you'll have to take a special trip to drive all the way in.
Do you want to show that video on baby monitors real quick?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look
at that video.
My producer
said we have enough time for that. So
in this video, we're going to measure baby monitors for wireless and Wi-Fi radiation. So we have the unit here, which would be next to the baby, and we have it on, and the transmitter is in another room, so it doesn't interfere with our measurement. And we're going to be using the Acousticom 2. And what you do is you press the black button once, and as you can see, it goes all the way up to 6 volts per meter, and that's 120 times the safe level. We're going to turn the sound on, and then we're going to back up to see at what point it gets toward the safe level. And you want to get into the green. It's still in the amber. We're out of the red, but it's still in the amber, which is not safe for a baby. And we're starting to see a little bit of yellow, but not too much. And as you can see, we're still not consistently in the green. So I'm going to turn the sound off. Modern baby monitors put out a lot of Wi-Fi and wireless radiations. In another video, we'll show you another baby monitor that's not as severe.
With all this wonderful information, how would one find you? What is your contact information?
We're at stopdirtyelectricity.com. And
now say that a little slower.
Sure. Stopdirtyelectricity.com. We're actually on Facebook and YouTube. You can put those in. And our phone number is 702-845-5794. 702-845-5794.
Yeah. So I have a couple of people for you to assess their homes.
Sure.
Before you leave and go back to Las Vegas.
All right. I'd be happy to.
Because of the symptoms they have, I already told them they have a problem with the E.M.S and the radiation. So this is wonderful. So services and products.
Yes, and if someone missed the 10 things, you can go to our website and download them. It's a free report, so you can actually, if you weren't writing fast enough, you can get those.
Okay.
We also do speaking engagements to any size groups, and they're always free.
And you appear on television shows like my own. Thank you.
Yes. And we have on-site consulting, as you talked about, Doctor. We also do phone consulting when someone's not near. And we also have do-it-yourself video packages where we have 45 videos where someone can buy a meter and go around their entire house in every single room and find out how to make their home safe.
Wonderful. So I pray that this show has been edifying for you, and please share it with your family and friends, because we want to have the best quality of life as possible. So dealing with our environment, we have to do the things that we can to stay as safe as possible, to prevent these cancers and other chronic conditions and autoimmune problems from happening to your body. Eat right, drink right, think right, forgive everyone, love yourselves, love someone, give everyone a smile today. And that is as cheap as you can go, is give them a smile. So I want to say in closing that I always say in the end, I don't have it on today, but repeat after me. I am so grateful
so grateful
that I am
that I am
a magnet
a magnet
for miracles.
for miracles.
That's why I'm here at UBN Radio, and I'm Dr. Lee with NuWellness TV. Tune in again, but actually share this show with everyone. We're at iHeartRadio now, and we're also UBN station, but you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Dr. Lee, NuWellness TV with Dr. Lee is our YouTube channel. So thank you so very much, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Jarvis. Have a blessed day.
Join us every Wednesday live at 11 a.m. for NuWellness TV with Dr. Lee. Remember, healthy mind, healthy body.